Welcome back to Okaloosa today at the beautiful Fort Walton Beach Landing. I'm Doug Rayner with the City of Destin, and I'd like to introduce to you today a brand new City Council member that we have, just a recent election. Mr. Cyron Marler is joining us today.
Thank you,
Back
Doug.
again on council. I think this is your third term, so thanks for coming out and talking with us.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my third term. I served from 2000 to 2008 and just got reelected back in January.
Well, good. We're happy to have you on council, and we picked a great day to be outside and
it's beautiful
to do this. Wanted to kind of do an introduction of you to our audience, and you've been around for a long time around here. Again, third term now on council, but wanted to make sure that our audience is kind of up to date on what you've been up to, what you've done, why you got reelected, and why you decided to run again. But for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and where you went to school.
Well, I was born and raised in Destin. Actually, I was born at the old Fort Walton Beach Hospital here in Fort Walton Beach, and then raised in Destin. I went to Destin Elementary School for grades K through 6th grade. Went to Meg's Junior High, now middle school, for 2 years, and then all the Destin kids were transferred to Fort Walton Beach High School, where I graduated in 1975.
Wow, so you definitely have been here full time.
Oh, yes.
How about family? I heard you're recently married. Ted alluded to that a little while ago. I was married a week before you were.
Yeah, that's right. I got married this past Saturday, the 21st of April, to a wonderful lady that I grew up with. We're happy, and I ended up getting 5 grown stepchildren and 2 wonderful little granddaughters as part of the package. And so we make our home in Destin, and we're starting our life together.
Well, congratulations. I know that's exciting.
Congrats to you too.
Well, thank you very much. We were talking earlier. You mentioned that kind of some work history and some background on what you've done here in your adult life. You said you started your first job as a radio announcer. How was that?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. When I first got out of high school, as a matter of fact, the drama teacher thought I'd be great at it because I have a good speaking voice.
And a good singing voice, which I hear around town.
Yes, that's what they say. So right out of high school, I was able to apply to the former WFSH radio in Niceville. It used to be a country station, AM back then. 1340 Fish is what they called it, and that was my first job out of high school. I later on worked at WNUE before it went off the air, which used to be the only station in the area for rock and roll back then. And after that, I stayed out of broadcasting for a while. I do a little voiceovers for various things for people, and for the city I do a lot of emceeing, and also for the company I work for Legendary. I currently work for Legendary Emerald Grand at Harbor Walk Village, the maintenance specialist. I've been with them for 7 years. I am involved heavily with a lot of the stuff they do down there, including Red, White, and Blue. I do the emceeing and also sing the national anthem.
Well, that's great. And not only do you live in paradise, but you get to go to a beautiful place to work every day. That's got to feel good.
Oh yes, it's a beautiful place to work, and we've had a lot of new things happening down there that's going on. And also, I'd like to mention that as far as civic duties and stuff, I also help with the annual Christmas tree lighting for the community center. I help MC that and lead the singing for that. And coming up on Memorial Day weekend, I'll be at the Destin Cemetery singing the national anthem for that. And also we'll be doing Founders Day on the 5th of May. Be coming up, and I'll be emceeing that, and we'll have all our founders and founders families from Destin.
Well, good. And speaking of your civic duties and maybe your extracurriculars, you served the city when you're not on council on committees, right?
Yes, sir. I have been. I first served in 1996 through 2000 on the Public Works Public Safety Committee. Got off of that, of course, as I won council in 2000. I was reappointed to the Public Works Public Safety Committee when I got off council in 2008. I served another 4 years, and also the Board of Adjustment, which I served until I took office again on council.
So you have a pretty good understanding of how council works and what's expected of you from the public and from the city's perspective. Let's kind of get into your current position, your current appointment on city council. 2 terms. What made you run for a third?
Well, I felt that I had a lot of unfinished business I wanted to take care of from my previous terms. It had always been a goal for me to try to get back on council, to try and see if I could do what I started out to do, which was help make Destin a good place to live and work and play. And so I had a few things that I wanted to see see through, which actually started before I got back on council with the Harbor Boardwalk. We still have issues with what I call affordable housing for people who live and want to live and work in Destin and want to do that. And so there were a few issues here and there that I just felt that I needed to come back and do my best to try to help the citizens get what they want.
Sure. Well, we appreciate that. I think that means that you're here for the right reasons, and you're very well supported in our community, and I know our staff appreciates you being back on council. How about this election experience? We talked a little bit about this being a little different from maybe the ones you've had in the past. How did that go for you?
It was a little different. When I ran, I actually ran in 1996, and I was the lowest man on the totem pole out of 11 people running, so didn't quite make it.
Sure.
And in 2000, I ran and was came in the second highest vote getter. Councilman Charles Morgan was the first. And then in 2004, I actually ran unopposed with Ted Corcoran and Dewey Destin, myself, and Mr. Larry Williges, who's also back on council, who ran in 2010 and got back on. And so this election was a little bit different. I actually ran in 2010 and didn't win, but out of a 5-man race. But this one was a little different because we had a very close election between myself and former Councilman Wiedenheimer. There was only a 30-vote gap between the two of us. So automatically, because of the fiascos of the 2000 presidential election, there's an automatic recount. So sitting up there and watching the recount and going through it with Mr. Wiedenheimer and also with Judge Maney and the elections officials, Paul Lux and all them, it was interesting to watch them because they had to go back in, unseal the bags, recount all the ballots for each precinct, change a few things around because of the districts and everything, and it was very interesting. I still came out 30 votes ahead, and Mr. Wiedenheimer and I shook hands, and we both agreed that, hey, there's always next time for both of us, and so,
well,
and he and I still remain great friends, and we're happy for that. And
well, good.
I hope to see him back in office sometime in the near future.
He might just run, and you got to see a new side of the election process. Maybe you have a new appreciation for what goes on.
I do, and I want to say that to the people out there that if you don't think your vote counts, I got news for you. It does, and if you don't vote, you need to start voting because it's one of your rights that you need to exercise in this country.
Well, good. Let's turn our attention to our city council right now. We're kind of a state of the city where we are right now with our projects. What is your perspective from a council perspective, really, what the city has going for us in a positive light?
Well, in the positive light, before I took office, they got the dog park opened up, and since day one, that dog park has just been as active as can be. I've been out there with my dogs at least once or twice. It's very well kept, very well run. Of course, we're almost done with the main section of the Harbor Walk. We still have a small portion that will hopefully complete in the next few years before my term is up. And from what I can see at the Harbor Boardwalk, because I work down there, it is very, very active. We're doing a lot of stuff. Of course, we had some minor issues with the waste management contract back in November through the first part of the year. That got solved, and that shows the interaction between the citizens and the city council and the city government on how to fix the problem. If you think there's a problem, come out there and make your opinion known, and we'll see what we can do about it. So those are the accomplishments that I think. We've still got a few more things going on accomplishment-wise. Of course, we're always working on the Sterling certification, and that's another thing that Councilman Bagby is really interested in, and that gives us an excellence there. And the city has always gotten all kinds of awards for excellence, and that's the one good thing that I like about our city. It's that we are very professional, and we try to do a very good job for our citizens.
Well, our staff always works hard to make that happen and works closely with council to be professional and make sure we're always presenting the city in the best light possible.
And without you guys, we would be nothing up there, trust me.
Well, we appreciate that, and we enjoy working with you. Anything you'd like to see happen over the next 4 years while you're in council? And we have just a couple of minutes. So.
Well, the major things is to finish the Harbor Boardwalk, and of course the major issue right now is Norriega Point. I'd like to see us be able to finance and also to come up with a final permanent solution to stabilize Norriega Point. That is our gateway to our harbor, and it's a park. It is a state park or a city park. It's a bird sanctuary, And as a city park, we want to maintain all of our parks. Besides the dog park, Clement Taylor Park, we have to maintain Norriega Point, and we need to come up with a permanent solution to that. So hopefully in the next few years we'll have that solution and be able to take care of that.
And speaking of Norriega Point, this being a parks episode for Okaloosa today, we have some things going on the May the 12th. We want to make sure everybody knows there is a sea oak planting and sand fence erecting around the dune at Norriega Point to help to add some stabilization there. You kind of mentioned how important that park is, but tell us what this means to the city.
Well, what it means to the city is that we'll have a permanent park as far as the sea oats. Once they take root, they keep the sand from blowing away, and that's the major problem with Norriega Point. The sand, because of hurricanes, blows into the inlet and blocks it. We almost had it completely blocked this past winter. We had just dredged it in October, and then a winter storm came up and almost closed it back up. And the sand that's made up the dune that we're about to plant sea oats on came right from that area and was originally on Norriega Point to begin with. All we're trying to do is keep it on the point and away from the water so that we can have our inlet open all the time.
Very good, and the city's asking for volunteers, so if anybody's interested in working on May the 12th, we're taking donations to help pay for this. We're taking volunteers to help plant, so just please visit the city's website, call the City Hall 837-4242. You can ask for just about any staffer that can help you out with that. We have a few PIO updates I'd like to give real quick, and if you'll check your screen, we'll let you know that May is Building Safety Month. Check the city's website for that. Parks and Recreation have a lot of programs going on. You can see those on your screen right there. If you want to register, please go to the city's website. You can register online. Cyron mentioned Founders Day celebration on May the 5th at Destin Community Center from 11 to 1. The summer programs at the Community Center are starting up. Call the Community Center 654-5184. And the Destin Library has an art exhibit coming up. Please be sure to check that out too. We appreciate you watching Okaloosa today, and please join us next time.
Thanks for watching Okaloosa Today. Join us again next month to learn about local news and information for Okaloosa County, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin.